The galaxy had forgotten Earth, or so they thought. We were the whispered myth, the cursed world where only monsters could thrive. But when the stars screamed, when an ancient evil came to consume all light, it wasn't the empires or the elders who answered, it was us. From the black depths beyond Neptune, humanity rose, not because we were the strongest, but because when death calls, we answer, the signal from beyond. Captain Sarah Chen floated through the observation deck of Research Station New Horizon, watching Neptune's stormy blue surface swirl beneath them. For 3 years she had commanded this remote outpost at the edge of human space, monitoring deep space communications and searching for signs of extraterrestrial intelligence. Most days brought nothing but cosmic background radiation and the occasional asteroid mining report. Today would be different. Dr. Marcus Webb rushed into the observation deck, his usually neat hair disheveled and his lab coat wrinkled from hours of frantic work. "Captain, you need to see this immediately," he said, clutching a tablet that displayed readings unlike anything they had recorded before. Sarah studied the data streaming across the device. Complex mathematical patterns danced across the screen, clearly artificial and undeniably intelligent. But what caught her attention was something deeper than the mere presence of alien communication. Even through the barrier of unknown language and impossible distance, she could hear desperation in the signal's rhythm. "How far away is the source?" she asked, following Marcus toward the communication center. "Approximately 67 light-years from the Kepler 442 system," Marcus replied, his fingers dancing across multiple consoles as he refined the translation algorithms. "But Captain, there's something extraordinary about this transmission. It's not random or exploratory. Someone out there specifically knows about Earth and is trying to reach us." The main display activated, showing the signal's point of origin against a star map that represented humanity's current understanding of local galactic geography. Sarah felt a chill run down her spine as she realized the implications. After centuries of wondering whether humans were alone in the universe, first contact was happening not through peaceful exploration, but through a desperate cry for help. Communications Officer Lisa Park looked up from her station with wide eyes. "Captain, I'm detecting multiple transmission layers. This isn't just one message. It's an ongoing conversation, and whoever is sending it has been trying to reach Earth for months." Marcus worked frantically with the translation software, designed for theoretical first-contact scenarios but never tested on actual alien languages. The mathematical foundations of the signal slowly began revealing fragments of meaning. Words and concepts appeared on his screen, translated through complex algorithms that compared alien mathematics to human scientific understanding. "Coalition under siege, seeking aid from Death World inhabitants. Earth-designated survival classification extreme. Please respond if the legends are true." Sarah stared at the translated text, feeling her heart race at the words Death World. She had studied xenobiology theory extensively and knew that most scientists expected alien civilizations to evolve on planets with stable, gentle environments. Earth, with its extreme weather, natural disasters, predators, and diseases, would indeed seem like a death world to beings from more peaceful planets. The translation continued, revealing more disturbing details. The signal originated from something called the Zephyrian Coalition, a group of peaceful civilizations that had been fighting a losing war against an empire known as the Harvesters. According to the message, the Harvesters had destroyed 23 different star systems and consumed the life energy of countless worlds. Dr. Webb's console chimed with a new discovery. "Captain, I've decoded more of the transmission. The Zephyrians describe Earth based on our radio broadcasts and entertainment signals. They're amazed and terrified by our constant warfare, our weapons development, and what they call our impossible willingness to die for abstract concepts like freedom and justice." Lisa interrupted from her station. "Captain, long-range sensors are detecting massive energy signatures moving toward our solar system. 7 objects, definitely artificial, approaching at speeds that should be impossible according to our understanding of physics." The main screen shifted to display incoming vessels that dwarfed Earth's largest space stations. Their design was angular and predatory, bristling with weapons that human technology couldn't identify. The ships moved in perfect formation, suggesting advanced coordination and military discipline. Sarah felt the weight of command settling on her shoulders as she realized that humanity's first contact with alien intelligence had brought death directly to their doorstep. "Dr. Webb, how much of that alien message have you translated?" "Enough to understand the basics, Captain. The transmission comes from the last survivors of the Zephyrian Coalition. They're peaceful traders and scientists who have been retreating from the Harvester Empire for over 2 centuries. They sent their distress call to Earth as a desperate last resort, never believing that Deathworlders actually existed. The alien message continued playing, and the translation software revealed increasingly disturbing information. According to Zephyrian data, Earth was classified as a Class 10 survival world. Most inhabited planets in the galaxy were Class 1 or 2, with gentle climates and minimal natural threats. The Zephyrians couldn't understand how any species could evolve on a world with Earth's extreme conditions and still develop space travel technology. More troubling was their analysis of human entertainment and historical broadcasts. The Zephyrians had spent decades trying to understand why humans created stories about surviving disasters, fighting monsters, and overcoming hopeless situations for entertainment. Their peaceful civilization found human culture both fascinating and terrifying. Sarah studied the approaching Harvester fleet on the tactical display. Lisa, send an immediate priority alert to Earth Command. Full first contact protocol. We have alien contact and it's hostile. Already transmitting, Captain, Lisa replied. But those ships will reach Earth's outer colonies before any response fleet can arrive. Dr. Webb looked up from his translation work with a pale face. Captain, there's more information about these harvesters. They're not just conquerors. According to the Zephyrian data, they drain entire planets of life energy to power their technology and sustain their own dying civilization. They've been watching our radio signals for decades, studying human technology and military capabilities. The implications hit Sarah like a physical blow. Earth had been observed, analyzed, and probably targeted for years without anyone knowing. The enemy understood human weaknesses and strengths, while humanity knew nothing about them except that they consumed entire worlds. The Harvester ships entered the outer solar system, their formation spreading to surround Earth's outer colonies and mining stations. Sarah watched helplessly as the first reports of attacks began coming through. The enemy ships didn't attempt communication or negotiation. They simply appeared at each human outpost, destroyed everything they found, and moved toward the next target. Captain, Lisa announced with barely controlled emotion, we're receiving casualty reports from the asteroid mining facilities. Estimated 12,000 civilians lost in the first wave of attacks. Dr. Webb continued working on the alien message, his translation becoming more fluent as the software learned the Zephyrian language patterns. Captain, the Coalition is asking for military assistance, but they warn that humans should not attempt to help unless we're prepared for total war. The Harvester Empire has never been defeated, and they mark any species that opposes them for complete annihilation. Sarah looked around the bridge at her crew, dedicated men and women who had spent their careers hoping for peaceful first contact with alien civilizations. Instead, they were witnessing humanity's first interstellar war, beginning with devastating attacks on innocent civilians. She made her decision with the same determination that had carried her through 20 years of military service. Dr. Webb, prepare a response transmission to the Zephyrian Coalition. Tell them that Earth has received their message and that help is coming. Captain, Marcus protested, we don't have the technology to fight an interstellar empire. Our entire space fleet consists of research vessels and mining ships. Maybe not, Sarah replied, studying the tactical data streaming in from across the solar system. But we have something they don't expect. We're Deathworlders, remember? We've spent our entire evolutionary history learning how to survive impossible situations. Lisa looked up from her communications console. Captain, Earth Command is requesting detailed intelligence on the Harvester capabilities and asking for recommendations on defensive strategies. Sarah activated the station's main communication array, knowing that her next transmission would determine whether humanity survived its introduction to galactic civilization. She thought about the thousands of humans who had already died in the Harvester attacks, and about the Zephyrian Coalition survivors who had sent their desperate plea across impossible distances, hoping against hope that the legendary Deathworlders might actually exist. This is Captain Sarah Chen, commanding New Horizon Station, she transmitted toward Earth. Recommend immediate mobilization of all available spacecraft. The enemy has superior technology and overwhelming numbers, but they've never fought humans before. They don't understand what we're capable of when we're protecting everything we love. As the Harvester fleet continued its systematic destruction of human outposts, Sarah began planning humanity's response. The aliens considered Earth a death world, and its inhabitants mythical beings capable of impossible survival. It was time to show them that the legends were true. The research station's long-range sensors detected more Harvester ships entering the solar system, confirming that this was not a raid, but a full-scale invasion. Earth's first contact with alien intelligence had become a fight for the survival of the human species. But Sarah Chen had studied human history extensively, and she knew that humanity had faced extinction before and survived through determination, ingenuity, and the willingness to sacrifice everything for the future of their children. The war for Earth's survival was about to begin, and the galaxy was about to learn why peaceful civilizations told stories about Deathworlders to frighten their young. First contact and battle. Admiral Elena Rodriguez stood before the massive holographic display in Earth Command, watching real-time reports stream in from across the solar system. The Harvester fleet had systematically destroyed every human installation beyond Mars, leaving trails of debris where thriving colonies had existed just hours before. The enemy's efficiency was terrifying, but their methods revealed important tactical information about how they expected their opponents to fight. Commander James Park, Sarah Chen's younger brother and the fastest pilot in Earth's defense fleet, studied the enemy ship configuration from his position at the strategy table. At 32, he commanded the experimental squadron that flew humanity's most advanced spacecraft, vessels designed for deep space exploration but hastily retrofitted with every weapon system Earth's engineers could devise. Admiral, the Harvester formation pattern suggests they're accustomed to fighting opponents who retreat systematically, James observed. Look at how they spread their ships to prevent escape routes rather than concentrating firepower for maximum destruction. Dr. Amelia Foster, Earth's leading xenobiologist, entered the command center carrying files that contained humanity's first detailed analysis of alien technology. Her team had worked around the clock studying the sensor data from destroyed human installations, trying to understand the science behind weapons that could slice through Earth's strongest materials like paper. Admiral, we've analyzed the enemy weapon signatures, Dr. Foster reported. Their energy beams operate on principles we don't understand, but they have one crucial limitation. The weapons are designed for use against materials and defensive systems common throughout the galaxy. They've never encountered Earth's unique metallurgy or our chaotic approach to defensive engineering. Elena studied the tactical projections showing the Harvester fleet's approach toward Earth itself. 43 enemy vessels, each massive enough to carry thousands of soldiers and weapons capable of sterilizing entire continents. Against them, Earth could field 67 spacecraft of various sizes, most of them research vessels and cargo haulers with improvised weapons. How long until they reach Earth, she asked. 14 hours at current speed, reported Intelligence Officer David Chen, Captain Sarah's cousin. But Admiral, there's something else. Our deep space monitoring stations have detected a response transmission from the Zephyrian Coalition. They're sending coordinates for their last stronghold and begging us not to attempt a rescue mission. Elena accessed the translated Zephyrian message on her command console. The alien survivors described their situation with mathematical precision that transcended language barriers. Their last world, called Ethros, housed the final 3 million survivors of a civilization that had once spanned 17 star systems. The Harvesters had surrounded the planet with 30 battle cruisers and were preparing to begin the final energy harvesting process. Commander Park stood up from the strategy table. Admiral, request permission to take the experimental squadron to the Zephyrian coordinates. If we're going to fight an interstellar empire, we need allies. James, that's a one-way mission. You'd be flying into a battle against 30 enemy ships with 6 experimental fighters. Yes, ma'am, but those aliens sent a distress call across 67 light-years hoping that Deathworlders might exist. Someone needs to show them that humans keep their promises. Dr. Foster pulled up her analysis of Zephyrian technology based on the fragments of information contained in their transmissions. Admiral, the Coalition describes their defensive capabilities as advanced energy shields and precision weapons designed to minimize casualties. They fight wars by trying to preserve infrastructure and reduce loss of life. Elena felt a cold understanding settle over her as she realized the fundamental difference between human and alien approaches to warfare. They fight like civilized beings trying to preserve their civilization. The Harvesters fight like predators designed to consume everything in their path. And humans fight like cornered animals protecting their pack, James added. The aliens have never encountered tactics that prioritize victory over survival. Elena made her decision with the same determination that had carried her through the Mars Rebellion and the Europa mining conflicts. Commander Park, you have permission to take the experimental squadron to Ethros. Your mission is to make contact with the Zephyrian Coalition and demonstrate that Earth stands with its allies. The experimental squadron launched from Earth's orbital defense platform 6 hours later, their fusion drives pushing the limits of human engineering as they accelerated toward the coordinates provided by the desperate alien transmission. James led his 5 wingmen through hyperspace using navigation systems that had never been tested over such vast distances. The journey to Ethros took 18 hours, during which the pilots received continuous updates about the Harvester assault on Earth. The enemy had reached the inner solar system and begun attacking the moon bases and orbital installations. Earth's defense fleet was fighting desperately, but the technological gap seemed insurmountable. When the experimental squadron dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Ethros system, James found himself looking at the most beautiful and tragic sight he had ever witnessed. The planet below glowed with cities of living crystal that stretched across entire continents, architectural marvels that represented thousands of years of peaceful development. Surrounding this jewel of civilization were 30 Harvester battlecruisers, their dark hulls bristling with weapons pointed at the helpless world below. Squadron Leader to Ethros Command, James transmitted on the frequencies specified in the Zephyrian message. This is the Earth vessel Phoenix requesting permission to assist in your defense. The response came immediately, transmitted in heavily accented but understandable English. Earth vessel Phoenix, this is Commander Zara of the Zephyrian Defense Force. You cannot be real. The Death Worlders are legends told to frighten children. Commander Zara, we're as real as the weapons we're carrying. Request tactical information on enemy positions and defensive coordination. James listened as Zara described the Zephyrian situation with the detached precision of someone who had already accepted defeat. The coalition had 8 damaged ships remaining from their original fleet of 200. Their strategy involved careful positioning to minimize civilian casualties while preparing for the final evacuation of as many people as possible. Commander Zara, how many harvesters have you destroyed? James asked. The aliens' confusion was evident even through the translation system. Destroyed? We do not seek to destroy enemy vessels. Our goal is to preserve life and minimize the resources lost to warfare. James felt a chill of understanding as he realized that the Zephyrians had been fighting a defensive war for centuries without ever attempting to eliminate their enemies. Their civilization was so peaceful that the concept of total warfare was foreign to their thinking. Commander, with respect, that's why you're losing. Sometimes the only way to preserve life is to destroy those who threaten it. The Harvester fleet detected the human ships immediately, and 5 battlecruisers broke formation to engage what they perceived as a minor threat. James watched the massive enemy vessels approach, each one large enough to carry his entire squadron in its cargo bay. Phoenix Squadron, this is Phoenix Leader, James transmitted to his pilots. We're going to show these aliens how Death Worlders fight. Attack pattern Alpha, maximum aggression, no defensive formations. The human fighters scattered in 6 different directions and attacked the Harvester cruisers individually, using tactics that violated every principle of space combat the aliens had ever encountered. Instead of coordinating their assault or maintaining mutual support, each pilot became a lone predator hunting targets that outmassed them by factors of thousands. Lieutenant Maria Santos took her fighter through an impossible maneuver that brought her within 10 meters of a Harvester weapon array. Her experimental plasma cannons, designed for asteroid mining but modified for combat, fired point-blank into the alien ship's energy coupling systems. The explosion that followed sent shockwaves through space as secondary systems overloaded in chain reactions. Pilot Officer Chen Wang executed a ramming attack against a Harvester command bridge, ejecting at the last second as his fighter smashed through alien armor plating and detonated its fusion reactor inside the enemy vessel. Both ships were destroyed, but the psychological impact on the remaining Harvester forces was devastating. Commander Zara watched the battle from the surface of Ethros with growing amazement. The human pilots fought with suicidal determination, accepting certain death to achieve tactical objectives. Their weapons were primitive compared to galactic standards, but their willingness to sacrifice their lives made them incredibly dangerous. Earth Squadron, Zara transmitted as the battle continued. Your tactics are beyond our understanding. How can you fight when defeat is certain? James replied while executing an attack run that took him through a crossfire pattern that should have destroyed his fighter. Commander, we don't fight because victory is certain. We fight because our friends need us. The remaining Harvester battlecruisers found themselves facing an enemy they couldn't comprehend. Human fighters that should have been destroyed continued operating with damaged systems, their pilots manually controlling weapons and navigation when their computers failed. The Earth Squadron fought like nothing the Galactic Empire had ever encountered. When the battle ended, 4 Harvester cruisers had been destroyed and the remaining 26 had withdrawn to the outer system. James had lost 3 of his 6 fighters, but the impossible had happened. For the first time in recorded galactic history, a Harvester fleet had been forced to retreat. Commander Zara's voice carried amazement and hope when she contacted the surviving human fighters. Phoenix Leader, you have accomplished something we believed impossible. The Harvesters have never withdrawn from an engagement. Commander, this is just the beginning. Earth is sending more ships and we're going to drive these bastards out of your system. As James prepared his squadron for the next phase of the battle, he received an urgent transmission from Earth. Admiral Rodriguez's voice carried across interstellar space with news that changed everything. Phoenix Leader, this is Earth Command. The Harvester assault on our system has been repelled. Their fleet withdrew after our defense forces demonstrated the same tactics you used at Ethros. The enemy appears to be regrouping for a different approach. James felt a surge of pride as he realized that humanity's first interstellar military victory had been achieved by doing exactly what humans did best, fighting impossible odds with determination that bordered on insanity. But the war was far from over, and the Harvester Empire was about to learn that Deathworlders were even more dangerous when they fought to protect others than when they fought for themselves. The final stand. 3 weeks after the first battles at Ethros and Earth, Admiral Elena Rodriguez stood on the bridge of humanity's first interstellar warship, the UES Defiant. The massive vessel represented the combined efforts of every spacefaring nation on Earth, built using technology reverse-engineered from captured Harvester equipment and powered by fusion reactors that pushed the boundaries of human engineering. Beside her, Commander Zara of the Zephyrian Defense Force worked alongside human officers in a collaboration that would have been impossible before the war began. The 7-foot-tall crystalline being had adapted to working with Deathworlders, though she still showed signs of amazement at human military doctrine. Admiral, long-range sensors detect the Harvester mothership approaching from the galactic core, reported Lieutenant Commander Sarah Chen, recently promoted after her heroic defense of New Horizons Station. The vessel is approximately 50 kilometers in length and appears to be generating enough energy to power an entire star system. Dr. Amelia Foster looked up from her xenobiology console with disturbing news. Admiral, based on our analysis of captured Harvester technology, that mothership isn't just a weapons platform. It's a mobile harvesting facility capable of draining the life energy from multiple star systems simultaneously. Elena studied the tactical display showing the massive alien vessel approaching with an escort of 200 battlecruisers. The combined human Zephyrian fleet consisted of 47 ships, including 23 vessels from Earth and 24 survivors from the Coalition's original armada. Against the Harvester mothership, they seemed pathetically outnumbered. Commander James Park entered the bridge carrying intelligence reports from deep space reconnaissance missions. His experimental squadron had been conducting hit-and-run attacks against Harvester supply lines for weeks, gathering crucial information about the enemy's capabilities and weaknesses. Admiral, we've discovered something important about the Harvester Empire, James announced. They're not just conquerors seeking territory or resources. According to captured data files, their entire civilization is dying from a cosmic phenomenon that consumed their original galaxy. They harvest life energy because their species is slowly fading from existence. Zara's crystalline features shifted in what humans had learned to recognize as surprise. That explains their desperate tactics and willingness to destroy entire civilizations. They are fighting for survival just as we are. Dr. Foster pulled up biological scans of captured Harvester soldiers. The data confirms Commander Park's analysis. The Harvester species is suffering from cellular degradation that can only be slowed by absorbing life energy from other beings. Without constant harvesting, their entire empire will collapse within a few generations. Elena felt a moment of sympathy for their enemies, understanding that the Harvesters were themselves refugees fighting for survival. But that understanding didn't change the fact that their method of survival required the death of every other civilization in the galaxy. Commander Zara, what's the status of the Coalition evacuations? Elena asked. Approximately 8 million Zephyrians have been relocated to secure worlds beyond Harvester territory, Zara replied. But Admiral, my people refuse to abandon Ethros completely. It has been our homeworld for over 10,000 years. The main display showed the Harvester mothership entering the outer edges of the Ethros system, its massive bulk casting shadows across entire moons. The escort fleet spread into attack formation while energy readings from the mothership indicated that its harvesting systems were charging for planetary-scale energy extraction. Lieutenant Commander Chen reported from the communication station. Admiral, we're receiving transmissions from the Harvester mothership. They're demanding the immediate surrender of all human and Zephyrian forces. Put them through, Elena ordered. The main screen activated to show the bridge of the alien mothership. The Harvester Emperor stood 12 feet tall, his body a mixture of living metal and energy that flowed like liquid mercury. His eyes were points of burning light that seemed to see directly into human souls. "I am Emperor Thane of the Harvester Empire," the being spoke in perfect English. "Your species has caused us significant losses, Deathworlders. We offer you terms for surrender." Elena stepped forward, representing not just humanity, but the entire coalition of free species. "Emperor Thane, we've learned about your civilization's situation. We're willing to discuss alternatives to harvesting that might save your people without destroying ours." The Emperor's energy pattern shifted in what might have been surprise. "You would negotiate with those who have killed thousands of your people?" "We would negotiate with anyone willing to find a solution that doesn't require genocide," Elena replied firmly. "But we will fight to the death anyone who threatens innocent civilizations." Emperor Thane studied the human admiral with obvious curiosity. "Your species approaches problems differently than other civilizations. Most surrender when faced with impossible odds. Others retreat to preserve their resources. Deathworlders attack regardless of casualties." Commander Zara spoke up from her position beside Elena. "Emperor, the humans have shown us that sometimes survival requires actions that seem impossible. Perhaps there are solutions neither of our species has considered." The Harvester Emperor activated displays showing the scope of his empire's crisis. Entire galaxies were dark, their stars extinguished by the cosmic phenomenon that was spreading across the universe like a plague. Billions of Harvester worlds had already been consumed, leaving only mobile fleets searching for ways to sustain their dying civilization. "The life energy we harvest sustains our people for a few years at most," the Emperor explained. "We must constantly expand our territory and consume new worlds to prevent our own extinction. There is no alternative." Dr. Foster studied the Harvester data with the same intensity she had once applied to Earth's most challenging biological problems. "Emperor, what if there was another way? What if we could find a method of sustaining your people that didn't require destroying other civilizations?" "Impossible. Our greatest scientists have searched for alternatives for millennia." Elena made a decision that would determine the fate of multiple civilizations. "Give us 72 hours to demonstrate a possibility you haven't considered. If we fail, we'll face your harvesting fleet in final battle. If we succeed, we work together to find a permanent solution." The Emperor's form shifted as he considered the proposal. "Very well, Deathworlder. You have 72 hours, but understand that failure means the complete harvesting of both Ethros and Earth." As the transmission ended, Elena turned to her combined human-Zephyrian command staff. "Dr. Foster, I need you to work with Commander Zara on a biological solution. James, take your squadron and gather every piece of Harvester technology you can find. Sarah, coordinate with Earth Command for any research data that might be relevant." The next 72 hours became the most intense period of scientific collaboration in galactic history. Human researchers worked alongside Zephyrian scientists and captured Harvester data files, searching for solutions that none of them could discover alone. Dr. Foster's breakthrough came when she realized that the cosmic phenomenon destroying the Harvester galaxy wasn't a natural disaster, but a biological infection operating on an astronomical scale. The entity consuming stars was actually a form of life that could potentially be treated like any other disease. "Admiral, I think I've found something," she announced during an emergency meeting in the Defiance conference room. "The phenomenon attacking the Harvester galaxy shows biological signatures. It's not cosmic radiation or stellar collapse. It's a living organism that feeds on stellar energy." Commander Zara's crystalline features shifted with excitement. "If it's biological, it can potentially be fought using biological weapons. The Zephyrian Coalition has extensive experience with biological engineering for medical purposes." James entered the conference room carrying samples of Harvester technology his squadron had recovered from destroyed vessels. "Admiral, their energy storage systems are incredibly advanced. If we could modify them to work with Earth's fusion technology and Zephyrian bioengineering, we might be able to create artificial life energy that could sustain their people." Elena felt hope building as she realized that the three civilizations possessed complementary technologies that individually were insufficient, but together might solve an impossible problem. How long would it take to build a prototype? With human manufacturing speed, Zephyrian precision, and Harvester energy systems, perhaps 18 hours, Dr. Foster estimated. The combined research team worked frantically as the Harvester fleet maintained its position at the edge of the system. Emperor Thane had agreed to the 72-hour ceasefire, but energy readings from his mothership indicated that harvesting systems remained fully charged and ready for planetary consumption. The prototype artificial life energy generator was completed with 6 hours remaining in the deadline. The device combined human fusion technology with Zephyrian biological systems and harvester energy storage, creating a machine that could produce sustainable life energy without requiring the death of living beings. Admiral Elena Rodriguez stood once again before Emperor Thane, this time accompanied by Dr. Foster, Commander Zara, and the completed prototype device. The demonstration would determine whether 3 civilizations could find a way to coexist, or whether the galaxy would witness the final battle between Deathworlders and the Harvester Empire. Emperor, this device can generate the life energy your people need without harvesting it from other civilizations, Elena announced. It's not perfect yet, but it proves that alternatives exist. The Emperor studied the readings from the prototype with growing amazement. This is impossible. You have created artificial life energy in a matter of hours using principles our scientists never considered. Commander Zara stepped forward. Emperor, this was only possible because 3 different approaches to the problem combined their strengths. None of our civilizations could have solved this alone. Dr. Foster activated additional displays showing the potential for scaled-up production. With cooperation between our species, we could build enough generators to sustain your entire empire while working on a permanent solution to the cosmic infection in your home galaxy. Emperor Thane's energy pattern shifted through colors that the translation system identified as hope, amazement, and something that might have been gratitude. Deathworlders, you have offered us something we believed impossible: survival without destruction. Elena felt the weight of command lifting from her shoulders as she realized that humanity's first interstellar war was ending not with the destruction of their enemies, but with the creation of new alliances that could benefit the entire galaxy. Emperor, there's one condition for our cooperation, she said firmly. Any worlds or civilizations that your empire has damaged must be restored using the same technology that saves your people. Agreed, Admiral Rodriguez. The Harvester Empire will become partners in construction rather than agents of destruction. As the 3 fleets merged into a combined task force dedicated to building a better future for all galactic civilizations, Elena looked out at the stars and realized that humanity had found its place in the universe, not through conquest or submission, but through the willingness to fight impossible odds to protect others and the ingenuity to find solutions that turned enemies into allies. The Deathworlders had kept their promise to answer the desperate plea from across the stars, and in doing so had changed the course of galactic history forever.